Humanitarian conditions for the citizens of Lebanon continue to deteriorate as Israel has ramped up its pounding of Hezbollah's weapons caches, homes and hideouts, killing many of its leaders in the past month. Today, UNICEF said that more than a fifth of the Lebanese population, approximately 1.2 million people, have been displaced by the conflict, a third of them children. In a tiny country just a little smaller than Connecticut, innocent civilians often live near Hezbollah members, the livelihoods and lives of those citizens becoming collateral damage. Our James Longman has this report from Lebanon in tonight's Prime Focus.
The mountains above Beirut are supposed to be safe. Not anymore. During the Lebanese Civil War, which raged for more than 15 years and ended in 1990, Mount Lebanon became a haven for those fleeing the violence in the capital. But now, with Israel's operation in Lebanon expanding in the air and on the ground, death has come here too.
We're in the hills above Lebanon at a scene of an Israeli airstrike. This was a family home. We're told three-story building came down completely. This is what's left of it. We spoke to a family member and he said there were 16 people living here. All of them have been killed.
Hussein Samir Amro shows me around what remains of his home.
He wants to project strength. He doesn't want the world to see him weak and crying. He wants everyone to know that they're strong.
Hussein says some members of his family had come from the south to escape the fighting.
They may have come with their families, but Israel might say, well, the men were armed, the men had weapons, they brought weapons with them here, they were fighters, they brought their families. He says that's ridiculous.
ABC News asked the IDF what threat they had identified here. They did not respond. Hezbollah has launched rockets, missiles and drones at Israel nearly every day since last year's Hamas attack, displacing close to 100,000 Israelis, killing dozens and injuring more than 500. And when Israel killed Hezbollah's leader, Hassan Nasrallah, in a massive airstrike last month, what had been a limited border fight turned into all-out war. And Israel has now issued evacuation notices to 25% of the entire country. 1.2 million have now been displaced, according to UNICEF. 400,000 of those are children. And as ever, civilians have found themselves paying the price. Hussein takes us to the funeral. We see the pictures of his aunts and uncles, nieces and nephews on the wall outside the mosque. In the knowledge that Israel could strike at any time, this gathering is in itself surprising. Even more so because a Hezbollah official is here. Hezbollah is not just a proscribed terror group, but a political party. And Ra'ed Berro is a member of the Lebanese parliament.
What's the last month been like for you?
I'm a politician. You can't ask such a personal question, he says. He seems angry at being asked.
From a personal perspective, there's no reason to ask him the question. But the issue is that Israel says that Hezbollah needs to be removed from Lebanon. So you are their target. Does that not worry you?
Hezbollah is more than a fighter, more than a person, more than its leader, he says. It's an idea, and an idea cannot be killed that easily. It's true that we're wounded, he says, but a wounded lion is still a lion. Hezbollah says there'll be no ceasefire in Lebanon as long as Israel's operation in Gaza continues.
You say that you will not be slaves. Israel says that you are a slave to Iran and that Iran is causing this catastrophe.
Iran stood by our side, he says, in contrast to America's support for Israel. We're forced to gather allies. If China or Russia are willing to assist us, we are ready. Hezbollah effectively controls the Shia Muslim population of Lebanon, and as the self-proclaimed resistance to Israel's occupation in Gaza and the West Bank, the support of its already loyal base has deepened as they watch the humanitarian crisis in Gaza.
Hezbollah was created in order to defend itself, so we're just defending ourselves. Who gave Israel the right to say that Hezbollah should be removed? Lebanese people, we are Hezbollah.
The next day, we returned to the strike site in Meisra, where Hussein's family was killed.
There's a kitchen. Come over here to show you.
Mohammed, a neighbor, is there. He's part of the same extended family and was there when the bombs hit.
This is where the strike hit?
Yes. My wife was sitting over here and my niece, my 12-year-old niece. And I was, inside the kitchen, and I heard like a big explosion.
So Israel says that people don't talk about politics in this part of Lebanon because they're afraid to talk about Hezbollah.
Probably. probably everybody afraid.
Lebanon is built on very delicate sectarian foundations. Sunni Muslims, Shia Muslims and Christians still share power from the deal brokered back in 1990 that ended the civil war. These strikes are rattling those sectarian divides once again.
That's my uncle's wife. That's my mom here.
Down the hill from this home, I find Eli and his family. They live much like their neighbours who lost everything, in a large home full of extended family. But they are Christian. Eli takes me to meet his aunt, who was injured in the strike next door.
Can I ask what went through her mind when everything happened?
She thought as if her hand flew away. She started screaming that her hand got cut off.
Thank you.
Eli shows me upstairs.
So the building that was hit, I'm just going to wait.
Yeah.
Is just here.
Yes, you can't see it. You can see the rubble there.
Just see the rubble there.
It was like 3 stories up.
Yeah.
And it all went down.
Yeah, right next door. Lebanon is so proud of its sectarian balance.
Yes.
Right? I mean, that's something that people always say, look, there's a church, look, there's a mosque.
True, and we were living in peace with those people for 40 years, you know? They were our neighbors. We knew all of them. And that's what just happened is very, very sad.
But there's a lot of talk now in Lebanon about how Hezbollah is drawing a war into Lebanon and that other communities feel in danger. Do you think that's true for you?
I mean, actually, we do kind of feel in danger at the moment, yes.
When Israel says it wants to destroy Hezbollah, people here ask the simple question, how? Without causing massive collateral damage. When it's become such a pervasive part of the Lebanese state, of its political, bureaucratic and social makeup. A majority of Lebanese oppose Hezbollah, but right now anger at Israel's invasion has triggered a rare sense of unity in this otherwise divided country. But this current crisis could become existential for Lebanon, and in a choice between its own survival and the survival of the Lebanese state, Hezbollah is choosing itself.
Our thanks to James Longman for that.